Okay, so let me just start by saying that I'm probably gonna have no idea what I'm talking about throughout much of this review. I'm gonna do everything I can to address as many things as I can with this movie because it's a very iconic, I guess, movie. It's pretty much the animated movie that defined the 70s. Um, and, it did inspire other artists to, you know, do similar kinds of movies and stuff. Yeah, so I'll do what I can to talk about Fritz the cat. Yep, this is the animated film debut of one Ralph Bakshi. Yep, and yeah, this is I'm in the 1970s. It's the decade of Ralph Bakshi. Um, so yeah, this is credited as the first ever X-rated animated movie, but I guess technically that's true. But we have a couple other movies that are, you know, pretty strictly for adults, like mainly the Osamu Tezuka hentai movies, basically. Um, so, but yeah, since this is the first X-rated movie made in America, then I guess America is where the ratings come in, I suppose. Anyway, and yeah, it's the X rating is all over the advertising because I'm looking at the poster and it says we're not X rated or we're not rated X for nothing, baby. And at the bottom it says he's X rated and animated. So yeah, they really want to shove in your face how adult this movie is, and yeah, the movie itself shoves in your face how adult it is. Um, Honestly, that doesn't necessarily make it mature in the figurative sense, but okay, I'll try and go over the plot. So, well, basically, it's about a cat named Fritz, and he lives a very, you know, a very free-spirited lifestyle, um, to the point of being quite self-destructive. Yeah, in a way, Shinbone Alley was kind of like a practice for this. Or yeah, it's like the precursor to this movie in a way. They're both based on comic strips, and they both star cats that are very self-destructive, live very self-destructive lifestyles, going around and you know getting into sexual relationships with other creatures, and yeah. But Fritz makes Mehitabel look like a saint. Um, uh, but yeah, it's mostly just like a bunch of little misadventures. It's Fritz seduces a bunch of college girls, and he takes them to his apartment, and they do the dirty. Um, and then there's stuff about him like you know befriending this black crow, because yeah, crows represent black people in this movie. Everyone's a humanoid animal, obviously, but yeah, all of the crows are black people, or black people are represented by crows. Um, and he yeah, he has sex with this female crow, and then he starts up a riot, and it results in the acquaintance getting shot and killed, and then he's got or he apparently has this really straight-laced girlfriend, but she's a bossy. Let's see, what word can I use that isn't profane? She's just very bossy and a nag, yeah. And he wants to live the free life, and and then he gets mixed up in some he gets hold on, yeah, he gets mixed up with a bunch of neo-Nazis, and they blow up a building, and then he almost dies, and but he gets revived by the power of sex, basically, because it basically ends how it started, with him doing it with those three girls. And it's and all throughout there's a bunch of socio-political commentary thrown around. There's random little conversations. Like I said, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do this movie justice, because I know this is one of those movies that warrants quite a dialogue in a way. I guess the question I would ask is, is there much meaning to this movie beyond the adult content, or, is it just a bunch of pretentious crap just being used as an excuse to show animals having sex? Basically showing a, cartoon animal pornography. I don't know, I guess that's a debate I don't feel like having right now, but at the very least, I do think it, it does have more meaning to it than the Tezuka hentai movies. Those, you take out all the sexual stuff in those movies, they're kind of just generic, anime films, without all the sex. 1001 Nights is just another 1001 Nights adaptation, and, you take out the sex in Cleopatra, it's basically just some kind of romanticized biopic. I guess there's some other adultish content in those movies, but, they, at the same time, they do feel childish. It doesn't feel like the adult stuff fits in those movies, but this movie, on the other hand, it is it was made to be adult. But it's kind of complicated, because again, it shoves all the adult stuff in your face. It all kind of feels like an excuse, just Bakshi doing it just for the hell of it, just wanted to make an adult animated film. But I gotta give him props for breaking new ground, because this this movie was kind of a game changer at the time. It's because there's quite a few more movies of the type to follow, but when it came out, there wasn't really any animated movies like it. I mean, maybe like a couple Japanese ones, but even those, they don't feel like. I guess there is that samurai movie that is like super gory. That one still kind of feels like the most adult movie I've covered. Although I don't know. I guess this movie's in the same ballpark, but yeah, it's. And I'm sure there's a lot of commentary to talk about throughout the movie. But I think a lot of it is like relevant to when it came out, which was the early 70s, and obviously I wasn't alive back then. So yeah, I can't really get that involved in the discussion involving all that. And let me see. I mean, yeah, like I said, it's hard to really do this movie justice. Like, I do like the presentation. It is uniquely stylish. Maybe not like super unique. I mean, it's not too different from what we got from Shinbone Alley, but it's I still like the art direction of the movie. And I guess some of the voice actors did a pretty good job. Mainly the guy who voiced Fritz. I can't really say any of the characters are likable, but I think that's intentional. Like, Fritz is like a mega schmuck. Yeah, he's not likable, but I don't think he's supposed to be. And like all the female characters basically just exist as either like sex objects or unlikable in some way or another. Or there's one like not so bad female character. She's like a girlfriend to one of the neo-Nazis, and but I think it kind of presents her as kind of an unattractive, or I don't know, like an example of one of those girls who's nice but not very attractive or whatever. Even though you do see quite a bit of her, just like every other female character in the movie. Yeah, every female character in the movie sooner or later shows you her breasts and her buttocks and whatever. And for the most part, most of them aren't very attractive. Probably the only characters who are attractive enough are the three college girls that Fritz, is constantly screwing. But yeah, there's not a whole lot in terms of eye candy aside from those three characters. But I guess I would still say it's like more attractive than either of Tezuka's movies, though. I don't know. Or at least 1001 Nights. Whatever, I don't care about all that sexual crap. There's a place for that. It's not, I don't tend to prefer it in movies that I watch, but to be fair, I'm not really much into the adult stuff. But yeah, I'm watching these anyway, and I know there's a handful more movies like this to come. So, I'm sure there's a fair bit else to talk about, but I can't think of all of it. Um, it's yeah. I guess you could say it's raunchy for the sake of being raunchy, but I don't know. I guess maybe there's like a deeper meaning, but I can't exactly say I'm an expert with this kind of stuff. So yeah, I guess if anyone has anything to add, yeah, feel free to post it in the comments, and if I have anything to add, I'll put it in the comments. So I can't say that I like the movie very much, but at the same time, I do, you know, admire it. I respect what Bakshi was going for. Um, so I think for that, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Um, I guess some people might. There's probably a case to be made for it to have a higher rating, but I'm gonna go with 6 since these kinds of movies aren't really for me. But I don't know. Maybe there'll be a good animated movie with adult content that I'll legitimately like. Yeah, maybe one that doesn't hammer over your head as much as possible that this is for adults, this is for adults, this is for adults. You know, being for adults without calling too much attention to it. But yeah, I guess whether or not I would recommend this movie depends on if you're into these adult movies. I mean, I'm sure most people watching this video have heard of this movie, and so yeah, you can decide for yourself if you want to see it or not. But if you're legitimately interested based on the subject matter, yeah, feel free to give it a watch. Um, yeah, if you don't think you're gonna like it, you probably won't. But yeah, overall, I respect the movie. I don't necessarily like it, but I respect it, and yeah, I think I do have a little bit of early respect for Ralph Bakshi, and I look forward to seeing what else he does, because yeah, I know he's got more adult stuff coming up. So yeah, I guess I'll just leave it at that. I'm sorry if I didn't give this movie as much justice as I should have, but that's about all I can muster up for now. So yeah, I guess that's it for now. Mash it and smash it, signing off.